Hello, everyone. It's Miss Kirkpatrick here, and today we are retelling A Storm in the Night. So, our goals are to be able to use what we know to retell a story. This is an anchor chart you haven't seen before, but all of the information on it you should already know. Our story elements are our characters, setting, problem, key events, and solution. Now, we already have talked a lot about our characters, our setting, our problems and solution, and those key events. So help me as we retell the story of A Storm in the Night. First, we retell the characters. Who are our characters from Storm in the Night? I would like for you to discuss this with your class. Teachers can go ahead and pause here. Okay, let's see if you put what I put. I said Grandpa, Thomas, and Ringo the cat. These were our characters. Bonus points if you mentioned Ringo. Then we retell the setting. We want to tell where the story takes place. But another important detail is when the story takes place. If we think about this story, we know that it happened at night. So you would want to tell me that. Sometimes our story tells us what year it happens, and that would be something important to include. So go ahead and once again, you're going to pause and discuss this with your class. Tell me where and when this story takes place. Go ahead and pause here. Awesome. I said that this story takes place at Grandfather and Thomas's house. They were sitting on the porch swing. It also takes place one evening during a storm. Did you use the word night or evening? Did you use the word storm? And did you say it happened at Grandfather and Thomas's house? Awesome. Now we want to talk about the problem. Now this isn't, in this story, it's not a problem like something major or dangerous happened, but there's still something that we want to focus on here. What problem happens in this story? Go ahead and pause to discuss. We know that the problem in this story is that Thomas says he's afraid of storms. I'm sorry, that Thomas says he's not afraid of storms when really he is. So, how is that problem solved? Thomas says he's not afraid of storms, and then what happens? Pause right here and discuss with your class. Okay, I said the problem is solved when Grandfather helps Thomas to see that it's okay to be scared sometimes. Grandfather helped Thomas by telling him a story about a time he was scared. Did you say that? If you did, I want you to say yes. Now we want to talk about the key events. This is where we use our sequence words. If you remember them, say them with me. First, then, next, and last. And I want you to discuss, actually, I'd like to do this one together. So let's talk through the key events. We know that first, in the part where I say first, I introduce my characters and my setting and the problem. One evening, a storm starts at Thomas and Grandfather's house and the power goes out. Then Thomas says he isn't afraid of storms. I think Grandfather really knows that that's not true, and so he decides to tell him a story. He tells him a story about when he overcame his fear of thunderstorms as a boy. He's trying right here to relate to Thomas. And in the end, when we say last, Thomas admits that sometimes he's afraid too. Now we want to talk about character feelings, actions, and traits. Remember, those feelings, they're temporary and they don't last that long, but those traits are something that's a part of the person. How do you think Grandpa felt when the power went out? When I see the word felt, I know that we are talking about feelings. So I'm not thinking about Grandpa as a person, but I'm thinking about how he was feeling right then when the power went out. Answer A, choice A says Grandpa felt confident that they would be fine. Choice B says Grandpa felt very worried and he wanted to hide. Choice C says Grandpa felt tired and wanted to go to sleep. And choice D says Grandpa felt happy because he loves storms. Pause with your class and discuss what you think is the correct answer. Are you ready? Choice A is correct. Grandpa felt confident that they would be fine. I know this because when the storm began and the power went out, he invited Thomas to go sit on the front porch, and they sat on the swing while Grandpa told him the story. Now, if Grandpa felt worried and wanted to hide, I know that the porch would not have been the place to do it. And they didn't go outside to sleep. You might have said he felt happy because he loves storms. And so those are the two closest answers. But really, how he was feeling was confident that they would be just fine. Here's another question. At first, Thomas said he wasn't scared. But at the end of the story, he admitted he was maybe just a little bit scared. What character trait does this show us? What I'm seeing here is that Thomas acts like he's not scared when he really is. Does that show me that he's prideful, lazy, or helpful? Pause here to talk with your class. Okay, I said that Thomas is prideful. Prideful means that you have a feeling of being very good and worthy. Thomas wanted to seem like he wasn't scared when really he was. He was kind of trying to play it cool and act better than he really is. In the end, we know that he learned it's okay to be scared and to admit that. Awesome job today, friends. I look forward to the next unit that we're going to do. Thank you for all of your work on characters' feelings, actions, traits, and retelling.